Well, hey, peace, love, and light. Yo, 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 what's poppin'? Hey, Mr. Trevor Berryhill, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Miss Satara. How about you?
I am living the dream. Somebody,
Okay. That's something I haven't heard in years and usually is said sarcastically.
it is nightmares and dreams too, Trevor.
Oh, man. It's part of the Stockholm Syndrome of the Army. All you remember is the good stuff, but then you start remembering your interactions like, hey, bud, how you doing today? Living the dream. Okay. That nightmare then.
Yep, nightmares and dreams too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually great. I'm actually great, 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 great. So
You've
I saw
been.
the wife was doing great, looking cute back
Mm-hmm.
there earlier. Yeah.
She just got off work. Her coworker has COVID. So usually it's a three-person job, a three-woman job, because I don't think a man has the patience for what she does.
Okay.
Uh, she works with patients selling durable medical equipment, right?
Oh,
And sometimes the patients just have an attitude. I mean, granted, you're going to have an attitude when you need medical equipment, or
yeah.
you could be in a bad mood. Usually you're in pain.
Yeah.
But it's a three-person job. One of her coworkers is out, so it's two people. And Monday, my wife was there all alone because her other coworker's mother had to go to the hospital. Her mother has health problems. So, yeah. When you have someone that resilient in your life, it's hard not to be as resilient as her.
Understood. Hello, Mother. Hello, Kathleen. How are you all tonight? So, Trevor,
Evening,
tell me
ladies.
what has been going on. How's the campaign been going?
It's been going all right. When I don't, knock myself down with a migraine, uh, that was bad. I don't know where it came from, and then I made the mistake of going to city council the other day with that migraine still going on. And for anyone who was there, I apologize. I had my sunglasses on the entire time. I wasn't trying to be impersonal. I was just trying to protect myself from the lights. But you have to go out and be informed. This is what Ms. Tatar has been doing for us this entire election season, making sure everyone's informed. And I made sure to inform myself. And so, yeah, I'm sorry if I seemed rude with my sunglasses on inside. But
All
speaking,
about migraines, and shout out to you for even being able to get out there. Because when I have one, yeah,
well,
I'm done.
1,600 milligrams of ibuprofen and 50 milligrams of sumatriptan will help pick you up a little bit, and then, a couple copious cups of coffee, because I am an addict, and I have no problem saying that.
I know a lot of coffee addicts. I work at General Motors, so I know all about it.
But while I was there, I did want to bring up something, and
Oh,
this isn't an issue that the state gets involved in yet, but it's something I think everyone in Flint should know about. A
no.
gentleman, Mr. Roy Fields, he's having black mold come through his pipes. A city inspector, he spoke with the EPA, and they sent out someone from the city. That person from the city said it started in his walls and then moved into his pipes, which I'm going to throw civility out the window. That's bullshit.
I am appalled.
And
so what the city inspector is saying that this black mold started in the walls,
mm-hmm.
grew so bad that it got into the pipes,
and then it went throughout his neighborhood.
So bad that it went out.
Yeah.
Into the neighborhood from one little old house out of the wall.
Yeah.
Cool,
that's what they're saying, and I'm calling bullshit so hard on it. City council followed the rules for once, which they never do, and they cut him off at 3 minutes. I really wish they would have let him speak his entire case out, because he didn't get to tell them at the time that it was throughout his entire neighborhood. And I think a lot of them, until they spoke to him one-on-one after, and a lot of the people that were sitting there didn't know that it wasn't just his house. It's his entire neighborhood.
Scary.
So I've been trying to find resources for him. Obviously, if the EPA is just going to work through the city, then he needs other resources to go through. Health and human safety needs to be involved, and it needs to start cracking down on the city. We've had water problems here for years. We all know the importance of it, and we've been lied to for years about our water. So none of us trust the city. None of us should really be trusting the state, because they jumped in on that lie as well. Mm-hmm. So I want to take a moment here just to raise awareness for that. and sound that alarm call, because the only way to kill black mold is with the fungicide, not even bleach. And the amounts that you have to use, especially when it's as bad as that gentleman was showing us, is enough to kill a human. So they can't just flood our pipes with it. And black mold will constantly grow, and it'll grow throughout the water system until it hits a barrier that it can't pass. So it could affect a lot more than just his neighborhood in just a few short months.
Yeah, just what we need. Black mold on top of lead in the water, on top of fucking chemicals in the water. Yeah, just what we need.
And then if we want to go further into the lead for a minute, our last lead report came up to 10 parts per billion. It's tripled since the last one, and the last one was still an increase from the one prior. So there is a failure in our system again, and they're waiting until it hits actionable levels. Actionable levels is 15. They need to get ahead of that. But
yeah, because why would we be proactive as opposed to reactive?
Oh, it's only people's health. What do we care?
It's only people. It's only humans anyway.
Yeah, no. But
we'll make
so
more.
There's that. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's all over the website. Flint water has been drinkable since 2017. Well, it is. I don't touch my water. It runs clear. I still run it every day, check it, and I still don't touch it even though it's clear. Yeah. I mean, there's no trust. They lost that.
Well,
but just a few moments to bring those things up.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. So I have a question for you.
I might have an answer. I should.
Last time that we were together was really like one of the first times that we were together, and we had the challenge of you going out on the north side to.
Mm-hmm.
How did that change your viewpoint in how you viewed your seat after going on the north side?
So I was always looking at Flint, right, as a whole, and I wanted to be Flint-centric because everything that happens here spreads outward. Mm-hmm. So the good goes outward, the bad goes outward. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how bad the plight was up on the north side. It was a lot of blight. Oh, yeah, it was a lot of blight. There were homes you saw, or hell, you were driving, that tree that crashed into that man's house, and he had to put a tarp over it. Mm-hmm. And with the way our system's set up, it's so confusing to know, well, was that a city lot? Was that a county lot? If I start the paperwork here and pay all the legal fees to have them repair this damage that their property did to mine, oh, wait, that's the other entity. Or, oh, that's a third entity. They don't make it easy. Mm-hmm. So it really did change my perspective on where a lot of my focus has to be. Because where I live, yeah, there's some blight. I've got 2 houses that are falling apart. But thanks to my father-in-law, he keeps the neighborhood looking good. Mm-hmm. Those 2 houses, thankfully we don't have young kids that like to play inside empty houses because, young kids like to do that. Oh, it's an abandoned place. Let me go check it out. We don't have that here, so it isn't as big of a health concern as it would be, when I first moved here in 2016. We had a street full of, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that would constantly go into these abandoned houses, these rickety houses. Yeah. So it changed my view from where I'm at to more on the north side, where a lot of this is happening. And I just didn't know it was that bad. And now that's where my attention's at. I spoke with, who is it? Communities First. Mm-hmm. And those people do wonderful work. And I asked them, so what can you do with the north side in providing affordable housing? And they go, to get the loans, to get the grants, to get all this, for them to set up affordable housing, you have to be a certain distance away from a grocery store. Wait, food desert. You have to be a certain distance away from a bus stop. You have to be a certain distance away from a pharmacy, all these amenities. And people are running away from up there because they're not getting any attention or any help. Mm-hmm. So now without as many people there, because there is no housing, there is no amenities, then the amenities aren't coming in because there aren't as many people. So it's a cyclic problem. One thing I want to do is maybe rewrite that code to where it can be a little bit further out from some of these things to get the housing in. That way, all these amenities can come in, because they're not going to build where there's no people, right?
Absolutely. 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 So, so it was a little eye opening for you, huh?
Eye-opening is an understatement, but I don't know anything that's another metaphor for it.
Yeah. It was an oh shit moment, huh?
Yeah, and you're just sitting there. That used to be an apartment building. That used to be a school. There used to be a market right here, and I'm sitting there going, "What happened?
Hmm.
Why?" Because everything you were describing to me is a vibrant, bright, living neighborhood, and now it's almost a decomposing. It looks like it's died, and we need to focus the attention of the office that I'm going for, especially the office I'm going for, because as Mr. Mays likes to say, legislative bodies control the purse strings.
Yeah.
Well, if we can loosen up those purse strings a little bit, bring some of that money to the north side, and help Flint grow and rebuild and
Absolutely.
rejuvenate itself.
Because I say that all the time. I've said it before. You can't just continue to focus on downtown and let the other sides of town just die, because the north side is dying, and you got to see the north side dying.
Yes, ma'am. And then I was up there a few days ago. Um, there was a nice little meet and greet, and the second ward councilwoman was putting it together. So I got to hear from the land bank. I got to hear from the Flint Registry. I got to hear from Sloan Museum, and then I got to hear from her herself. And then she was nice enough to let me speak, which I'm not there to speak, but thank you very much and very kindly. It was appreciated. And that's where I saw there was a grocery store that wasn't quite a grocery store. Is basically a Family Dollar trying to market itself as a grocery store. And we, so I've been going up there more often, is what I'm trying to get to, than just when you took me up.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than do a one-off. You
Yeah.
have to keep your eyes open. You have to keep venturing out. And I travel all around the city on my daily, just Judy's place or go over to Walmart, what have you. North Side was never in my routine, and I've been really not struggling, but putting forth an effort to put it into my routine.
Hey, Dad's on. He's made
Hey,
it.
Pop.
Okay. Well, so with that being said, I um I have seen you out with the Bobby and more, going out and venturing, and we've talked about it a few times, like, hey, I'm
Yes,
going
ma'am.
here, I've been invited there, and you've gone out and making your rounds. And what I did like is that you were doing things outside of what would be in the state rep category, right? So I really enjoyed that, and I like that you took that upon yourself to do those things. So with that being said, if by chance you don't make it in, will you continue this work?
Yeah, because if by chance I don't make it in, I still want to run next time, depending on how the person that does get in does, right? So if it's, say, Mr. Harris gets in and I really like the work he's doing, well, he can't be everywhere at once. And I'd like to be someone that he trusts. So, I can go around while he's up in Lansing because we don't need another absentee rep.
Hmm.
And I'd like other people to do that for me if I get in. And hey, so this block here has this problem. What can we do about that? Or
Hmm.
here's my suggestion that can be done about it. Because
Hmm.
it's a community and we have to work as a community.
Hmm.
And your state rep is part of that community, for one. And for two, just because the nature of the position, they have access to a lot more resources, a lot more information than it would for you or I. You know, just saying the office is behind me and I'm trying to do this, then a lot of doors open and you get pamphlets of information. You even get that just being a candidate.
So, being that you've gotten to see the north side of Flint and see some of the things that we were talking about and the people are talking about, did it change how you wanted to do some things that you wanted to do prior?
No, I still wanted to reinvigorate Flint, and it did bring some attention to not what I wanted to do, but how I wanted to do it. Yes, a lot of folks saying they want their own businesses here, and we want more businesses, not just community owned, but some from outside to bring in outside money. And I want that. I just don't want it to take up people's homes or lots that people can be building homes on if and when the zoning gets passed to where we can, say, put a modular there or something small and affordable for these folks, and get rid of that damn ordinance that says, oh, well, there was a house there at one point, but we decided it's too small now. Well, city council, please reevaluate that and make it to where people can build on those laws before. People have been living there for, my house was built in 1927. It's almost 100 years old. People have been living in this place for nearly 100 years, and it's been just fine. You don't need bigger space. You just need places for people to put a roof over their head.
There you go. Have you reached out to any of some of the resources that you may be able to use once you are in the position, if you get into
it? One of the biggest ones I've been trying to reach out to and talk to, and they've thankfully taken my calls and set up meetings and such, like I said, was Communities First. So them being a nonprofit, I found out what the state rep can do to help them and what the state can do to help them to make things better and easier for them to help the community, things of that sort. But our biggest problem that I've seen is the biggest roadblock, the biggest bottleneck is the food desert on the north side. You got one grocery store coming in. Great. We need at least 2 or 3 more. And if we can't raise the money for local grocery stores to open up there, then we need to start looking at outside sources. One thing that comes to mind back in the day, I say that like it was a long time ago, is maybe a decade ago. They had something called neighborhood Walmarts, the green Walmarts. And it's just groceries and produce. You don't need a Walmart supercenter there. It's just a place to go pick up your groceries.
Yeah.
And try to incentivize them into coming into the north side without taking over people's homes or taking over where homes can be built.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Wentis.
Hi, guys.
So, your tour, going back to the tour, I took you by schools that used to be schools
that are now up for sale, which killed my hope of infusing the local school board with money to reopen those once as public schools once again.
But just like there's a food desert, there's also an education desert.
Yep, and we've spoke about this several times. They want to cram all these students from across the city, regardless of how much time it takes them to get there, and throw them on buses now when you could have just used to be able to walk. You used to just be around the corner. Well, cram them on buses and throw them into a school that's 2 or 3, 4 miles away, however far, and pack them into a classroom like sardines.
Yeah.
And now with them selling those properties, which, yes, they can be used for some good things like Mr. Harris, which, by the way, let me do a little side tangent here. I'm so happy I got to see him on your show. Yeah, there's a kind of a selfish reason. I just want everyone to have as much information as possible. Yeah. But
I was glad to finally, right?
Right. But so yeah, his mentorship programs that his uncle is running and that he wants to participate in can buy those up and set them up as a great place to be centralized. But now I want to talk with the school board. Okay, I understand you have so many students, but we can look at all these statistics, all these studies that show that when students aren't crammed into a classroom like a sardine, they learn better. And we want to have our children ready for the future. They are not a factory line project just to shove a book at them, whether they do good or not, pass them on to the next teacher, quote, the next person's problem, and then put them out into the workforce. because that's not college ready. That's not trade school ready. That's not workforce ready. That's just someone who hasn't really had attention paid to them, and they don't have all the necessary knowledge to get through life that a school is supposed to provide.
Kevin Tay has a question, and he said, how are you going to fight for the urban neighborhoods?
Well, we need to bring money into them, but a lot of the neighborhoods, it does fall to your city council. What I can do is direct funding to the city, but I'd want always to have a disclaimer, a caveat to it that says if you get this money, it must go to this neighborhood for this thing. I don't want them, oh, well, our bids and estimates say it's only going to cost $9 million. You gave us 10.5. Well, then find something else to do with that 1.5 that benefits this neighborhood. It doesn't go into downtown, damn it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. We don't need
Yeah, Dad brought up another thing he and I talked about. It's nice having him in the comments because he's like my notebook. Closed schools can be turned into some homeless shelters around here because we do have not a massive homeless population, but any homeless is too much.
Right.
And you always see homeless vet, anything helps. And these schools can very easily be turned into damn near, semi-private, 10 people per room. And you've got so many classrooms and a big auditorium. You could do a lot like that. That would help these people and give them a little bit more safety and security through the night. But going back to Mr. Tay, that's what I want to see. I don't want to just put money to the city and then let it run rampant and go the lowest do nothingest bid to say, oh yes, we put some money there and we're going to take the rest and put it downtown or put it into a new park. Which, how about we take care of the problems we actually have before we start dumping money into parks here? Our parks are beautiful. They're all over the place. I love them to death, but they are not the priority.
Absolutely not. I'm glad that you said that because it's not. So I know that you saw, like overgrown yards from dilapidated houses or vacant houses and things like that. Um, where does that bring you with crime and the police and light in the city and all of those things after seeing that?
I mean, when your city is looking like that because your city officials or county officials aren't doing their job, aren't paying the attention, it shows that they don't care. And say you invite someone into your house and it looks a mess, it shows that you don't care, right? So they're just going to do whatever they want. And it's much the same with the city. So you have these dilapidated houses, you have these overgrown lots that will draw crime.
Mm-hmm.
And that will draw, there's a lot more than just crime too, though. Crime, yes, it is a horrible plight here. But some things people don't think about, those overgrown lots, rodents carry disease. They also damage your home. Even if your home, you've been taking care of it, it is your biggest investment. Rodents coming in will rip up your wiring, rip up your insulation, rip up your walls, and cost you thousands of dollars. Or walking by those overgrown lots and just brushing up against it, fleas and ticks. And I've told, I've said it out loud before, my wife has Lyme disease from a tick bite, and it impacts her every day. And now I wonder,
do we have chiggers here? Any chigger bites here? Do we have chiggers here?
I think the closest they come to here is like mid-Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
My family lives in the South, so I don't know, but I'm like,
oh, I know those things from basic training, and it's really weird being a 19-year-old private going down to the PX with your drill sergeant to get clear nail polish to put on your leg so you suffocate them out. But Lyme disease, so how many people on the north side are having the fatigue, the muscle aches, the brain fog associated with Lyme disease from these overgrown lots? Huh?
And don't even know it?
That don't even know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is a huge public health concern because this will run with you for the rest of your life. Yes, it is a bacteria. And if you catch it early enough, you can get rid of it. but because the type of bacteria it is, a spirochete, it can live in your muscle tissue for years without displaying symptoms, replicate, and then even high doses of antibiotics won't get rid of it. And it becomes a lifelong issue, lifelong problem. And so if we want to go with lifelong issues and problems, because I just brought it up. So, our auto insurance here with the auto
is a mess. Yes.
Yes. With the auto insurance reform of 2019, they made it to where auto insurance companies cannot use non-driving factors as your to work on your price. But has anyone looked at their health insurance? They can still use your zip code.
Mm-hmm.
And the 48504.
They use your health insurance.
Mm-hmm. But that 48504 on mine jumps my health insurance up a good 20-30% just because of the Flint water crisis.
Oh, I'm sure.
Same thing about life insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So one piece of legislation I want to introduce is bringing health, life, business, property, renters insurance in line with that auto insurance policy, even though our auto insurance is still the second highest in the country, which is asinine and insane. I want to try to bring down those other costs. Car insurance, the only thing I can think of is making it not compulsory, because how many people drive around here with it or without it anyway? And the second you say you don't have to have it to be in compliance with the law, those car insurance companies start freaking out and lowering prices.
Ooh, yeah.
But there's risk in that, and that's something I'd have to have a study done before I actually go with that part. But as for the other insurances, not putting your, say, credit score, your zip code, things that do not impact whatever the hell it is I'm getting insurance for, to bring it down to make it more affordable for folks and for your employers, right? Mm-hmm. So if you've got benefits at a job and you're providing health insurance for your employees, now that just jumped up, and you can only afford to hire less employees because of how expensive it is to provide those benefits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to thank Mr. Dumas for that. He ranted and ripped me and tore me up and down, bringing those issues up. And they've been things that I'm concerned about, but I never spoke about. And I thought I'd take this chance to go ahead and mention those.
Absolutely. Shout out to AC Dumas. You all watch his show. Listen to his show. Well, actually, he's been posting it on Facebook too. And one of them been recording that for him. So shout out to AC Dumas, and you all watch his show on Winters. Can you put it in the chat, because I don't want to say it wrong. It's on Saturdays on 1420. I'll get that information. I'll shout him out. I'll plug it in there. So AC Dumas, if you're watching, I'll plug you. And if you're watching, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'll read it out. Make sure everybody goes and listens to you, sir.
But I wanted to make sure that I had said those out loud to let them know that those are issues to me, and they are important. They just weren't taking the forefront of what my attention was on, and that I am listening to them. But looks like you're trying to charge them $5 promotion.
Oh, that cost. My bad, Mickey. I'm sorry. My bad. Dad said less employees make me think.
Didn't our minimum wage just increase?
I don't know. I don't want to lie. I don't know, Dad.
Yeah, I'm unsure on that one, Pop. I know.
I'm gonna research it, and I'm gonna get back with you. I'm gonna have an answer for that. I don't know, but I'm gonna get an answer, Dad. I don't know.
I can tell you, my youngest, when she interviewed for Sam's Club, they spoke compensation pay. She didn't end up getting the job, unfortunately, but they were offering $12 an hour for a first-time employee with no work experience at an entry-level position. $12 an hour.
Kevin Tay, I get it. I know, Kevin. I know you asking this because Cynthia Neely doesn't make it to those last meetings.
Oh,
Kevin said,
Mr. Tay.
transportation to make it to those Lansing meetings? Valid question. We want to answer.
Yes, I do. I've got a truck in nice condition. And then if that one ever craps out on me, I'll just steal my wife's truck, because an elected official's job and place of duty is at, legislature in my case. And I can drop her off at work and pick her up on my way home. I will be there regardless. And if it means me having to beg my mother-in-law to drive me one way or another, I will be up there.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. That was a valid question.
That is very valid.
We don't see our current state rep, so there's so much validity. Even though it was loaded, there's so much validity in that.
You know what? If I can take a shot at her real quick, if you don't mind. So at the candidate breakfast, where I was able to meet up with Mr. Harris again, get his information to pass along to people so he can be heard, the mayor was there, which is cool. And I asked his assistant, as she's passing out literature, including for the mayor's wife, our current state rep, well, will the current state rep be here? Will Miss Neely be here? No. Why? This is kind of important. Oh, she's taking care of her business. So you also don't have to worry about me not showing up to take care of a business, because I don't have a business.
Oh, you don't do hair?
Huh?
You don't do hair?
No.
Okay.
No, I tried that once, doing a barracks haircut for my friend, and he ended up having to go bald. I can't cut a straight line to save his life. But I thought I'd take a shot at that.
Why was that? Just
like
I wondered.
The incumbent I will take shots at. For everyone else in the running, same as me, number one, I've got to speak to them and know them as humans, so I'm going to treat them as people, because they deserve it, and they're all good people. I enjoy.
How did you like the forum?
The one at the library?
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I called you, I called Mr. Mickey, and I called Mr. Clack afterward, and I said I had so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was so welcoming and opening. And I think I put on Facebook a few times. I really enjoyed that sort of forum, where most people expected debate. It was more open conversation, and we were open to saying, you know what, that was a great idea. And if I'm elected, I think I'm going to adopt that idea. Mm-hmm. And it was us listening to each other and then listening to the audience. And it was by far one of the best experiences I've had running thus far.
That's a good question, Mother. Becky Brown said the state rep spoke yesterday at the newly built apartment on University. Is that right?
Oh, wow. That's also a community's first project. I wonder if she knew that.
Oh, is that right? That's interesting.
But she can't be bothered to show up at any of these other events.
Not for little old us. We are nobody. We don't have any. Can't help her.
You see, you say you're nobody, and a few people have criticized the size of your show. But when I was walking out of City Hall from that city council meeting, a nice gentleman stopped me and said, "Trevor Berryhill." Wait, who's that? That is a stranger. Strangers don't know other strangers' names unless they're important or they've heard them. The only place. And then he said, "Yeah, I saw you on 810." So,
wow.
Yeah, they say affordable, but I mean,
$900.
Yes.
Like downtown University, like on University downtown. Is that what we're talking
about? New apartments on University, and where did I put
$900? Damn.
Yeah. Well,
Jeez.
So they can skew it pretty easily. With my post 9/11 GI Bill, they gave me a basic allowance of housing. So a paycheck every month that is equivalent to the average rental price in the city or your zip code. And I was receiving $1,200 a month.
Okay.
$1,200 a month for the average. It seems a little high, and it seems like someone's playing with numbers. But when I was receiving it, I was thankful, because $1,200 when I own a house that I bought for $3,500 was a lifesaver, and it kept my family above water for a while.
Yeah. I get that. Oh yeah, we got a UFO sighting. We did. We had a UFO sighting.
Well, I didn't cite her.
I didn't get to see it, but hey, is it recorded? Like, can I go back and watch it? Like, like. So Becky, you said that she was there. Did she have good things to say? Was she just talking about the apartment building? I don't know. Interesting.
To read a book to see if I can read. Give me a second, Mr. Tay.
Yes. I get it though.
Right.
I'm saying. You should have asked a couple other people to do that same thing, but I digress.
Give me a second. I've got a bookcase here. These are all books I have read in the last year.
What type of books do you read? Are those sci-fi?
Science fiction.
See? Okay.
There we go. And
hey, is that book good?
Which one?
Valdor,
Birth of the Imperium was excellent.
Yeah. Can I read it?
Sure. I mean, 40K is not for everyone. It is dark and grisly, and there is no such thing as a good guy in that universe. But I enjoy it.
I like sci-fi. I read it.
So, yes, I do read. I've got an entire bookshelf over here. Most of the books over my left shoulder. Yeah, I know the mirror.
Your dad said a Harlequin romance novel.
Harlequins are a faction in 40K. They are bad, Dad, bad.
Hilarious. Dad said, "Nope, you read romance novels."
I mean, there have been a few, and I may be turning red, and I am embarrassed to say it, but I will say it. I read romance novels.
Like the books with Fabio on the front of them. That's what Dad said. I just read what Dad said. Dad said,
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Dad, yeah. The state rep now can't read well.
Be good, Kevin. Be good.
I've already taken my shot. I'm hands off for a little while on her because I can get into trouble.
Yes, I will. My mom said I will read pretty much anything. Yes, I will. If I can put my hands on it and I can flip the pages, I'm going to read it.
I love science fiction. That's pretty much all I read now.
I love books. I love words, and I love reading. I love everything about books. I love the smell of books. I love the feel of books.
Yep.
I love books, and so books were just one of those things that if I didn't want to, be in the space that I was in, that's one of my mindfulness things. When I just don't want to be in the space that I am in, then I'll read a book to put me in the space that I like to be.
Yeah, and the great thing about a book, as like compared to TV or a movie, is you can imagine the characters any way you want them to. Whereas, like, I may get a super buff, strong guy on TV. I want to imagine a little twig like me running around doing all these cool things, So you can put yourself into the book, or you can put one of your friends into the book as a character.
Yeah.
And it's just nice because it also exercises your imagination, and you aren't sitting there stuck inside four walls, thinking inside the box all the time.
You know what's so crazy is that when you read a book and then it comes out like that in a movie, and then that character, and you're like, that is not what I picked. That's not my character.
Exactly.
Pisses me right off. I'm like, that's not my character.
Oh, man. Ender's Game. I had read that in basic training. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then the movie comes out, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be so great. This is such a great sci-fi. I love Orson Scott Card. His books are amazing. And then I see it. I'm like,
you're like,
wow. Good way of disappointing me. Thank God the author is dead, because he would probably go on a rampage through Hollywood just throwing cars around.
Your dad said he actually hugged your teacher that got him interested in reading.
Yep.
I can understand that.
Miss Stratman and Mr. Richardson. He hugged them both. Mr. Richardson, is 2006. The guy's a buff 40-year-old hippie. My dad, being built like me, walks into the classroom, gives him a hug. And Miss Stratman was one of my dad's customers. And they would constantly talk about how I'm doing in school.
Dad, I'm
makes sure
giving
never
you a virtual hug. I'm giving Dad a virtual hug. Virtual
yeah,
hug, Dad.
you know, when
Giving
he
Dad
was
a
in the
virtual.
Navy, he would
So,
constantly.
um, Kevin Tay said you and him have got to hang out. Kevin is a lot of fun. He'll keep you laughing. He's a lot of
No
fun.
problem, Mr. Tay. Worst case scenario, and it comes down to Neely and Trevor. Ow, I'm part of a worst case scenario. Okay. Split your
So
ticket and what?
and it comes down to Neely and Trevor. What do you do? Split your ticket and what other round robins? Republicans, not robins, are running.
Um, so in my race, there's a Tim Butler, and I think I responded to you a little bit earlier. The man's a ghost. His cell phone, either he changed his number because he got tired of being called for this campaign, which makes no sense to me, or it's just entirely shut off. But the man has not made himself reachable. Honestly, it feels like he just put his name on a piece of paper to say, yes, I've run for something, and get his name in a history book somewhere as a footnote. And I honestly think that's a disservice. And it makes my life a living hell.
I agree, Winters. Winters said you are not worst case.
Oh, thank you, Miss Wentis. I thought I'd crack a joke about it, but that does, boost my confidence there.
You are not worst case. Dad said vote Trevor.
Yes, Dad, I'll vote. Oh, wait, he means vote for me. Got it.
But you vote still. Everybody, August 2nd, Tuesday, all damn day. Everybody vote. Vote, vote. Get up in the morning. Get you a cup of coffee. Go grab you some folks. Call some folks and wake them up and tell them to go vote. Go vote. Go vote.
My oldest won't be old enough to vote in the primary. Her birthday is 23 days after the primary. But she is pre-registered, and the second she turns 18, she will be able to vote in the general. And we're going to throw a party for her. We're going to grab all of her friends that have turned 18 this year, and we are going to run them to the local polling places.
Take pictures, post them. That's what I did when I kids. Take pictures, post them. Have a big ass day for it, right? Do it.
And like Dad did for me, God, I think I was 15 or 16. It was a presidential election, and we go to the polling place, which was a Catholic church on 15th. I can't remember the name of it. And what he did is he asked the polling lady, can my son come in here with me to see how you're supposed to do this? And they allowed it. So I went to the polling booth with him, and he started filling out his selections. And he made sure to tell me, don't mark outside these bubbles. You'll spoil your ballot, and your vote won't count. You'll have to get another ballot. Like, it was a huge deal for us. He dragged Mom to vote. He's dragged friends to go vote. He made sure that everyone he knew voted, whether he agreed with their politics or not, because that is your voice. And the second you don't vote, you are consenting to let someone else make decisions for you without you even having input.
Yeah. Kevin Tay said, inbox him your number. He's driving. Said voting was a big deal in our house. So
yes,
as well in mine. He said he took you out of school to show you how.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would also take me out of school to go work with him.
So again, I shout out to my government teacher in high school. Rosie Howard was the one that showed us how to vote. Got us registered, talked to us about the importance of it and doing it correctly and how government works. Shout out to her. I'm telling you, she's the reason. She is the reason here that I am just a little bit knowledgeable in what I'm knowledgeable with.
We need more teachers like her teaching government, because so many people.
Sometimes you don't really appreciate someone until you just look back on it, or when those come up and you're like, damn, I learned this from Miss Howe. I'm like, I learned this from Miss Howe. So shout out to Rosie Howe, man. I love her. She was awesome. She was great. She was absolutely great. She was such a fun lady. You could talk to her about anything, ask her a question, she'll answer. She was really good. She taught, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what else she taught me. She taught me business. and she taught me how to do business and how to make sure that your books were right and count your money. It had nothing to do with accounting or anything like that, but she had a store where she sold, cookies and candy and all those things, and she ran those things. So yeah, so shout out to her, man. She showed me how to do all those things. All those things.
That's an excellent teacher.
Absolutely she was.
But
Um,
so
so
one thing that needs to be taught. Oh,
civics. That's what Dad said. Teach civics.
yeah,
Parents
because
still gotta save the hood. No cap.
civics, it's kind of crazy when I've been talking with people. They think that the state rep is a step above the city or the county, and the state rep or the governor can tell the city and county what to do. No, they're completely separate entities with completely separate areas of responsibility and responsibilities in and of themselves. And while they can put pressure on one another, you can't really tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And while city issues will always remain city issues unless there's a lawsuit, and that's not a way any of us want to go. Because if state starts stepping in on the city, then you've got state response times.
Oh my. So Winter said the Republicans had a fundraiser for Mayor Neely at Griggs' business last election. Will they be welcoming you as well?
So Miss Wentz here there when I did my little live stream, and I came out and said I'm not a real Republican. I just ran on it because A, is a less crowded field, and B, I have conservative values and beliefs. A lot of the Republican Party didn't like that. They don't like my views on abortion because I won't go for an outright ban. I doubt I'm very much invited to much of anything they do, and that's fine. If I've done this well with only $800 and some odd dollars, then if I do a little bit of fundraising, crowd fundraising, then I can go a lot further. And I don't need someone giving me money then telling me how to vote or how to run my campaign or what to talk about, what to think about, what to care about. I would rather do it myself. And if the Republican Party wants to come in and help, that's fine, but you're going to back the hell off, and I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. And that's the same if the Democrats want to come in and do the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Kevin Tate has 2 questions actually. He said, first one was, how did you think the mayor did at the mayoral forum at
so that's not my race, and I try to keep my opinions about that pretty close to the chest, mainly because it can hurt me one way or another. So if I say I like candidate A, but your candidate is C, it can hurt me. But as I've come out and said before, just because you spoke about current mayor, I don't like the current mayor. I feel he's sleazy. And I feel that when he talks but not speaks. He talks at you. And I felt that's a lot of what he did at the recent mayoral forum. Sorry, words decided to run away from me there.
Oh, no worries. So Terrence said, do you plan on helping small businesses and mentor programs in Kansas City?
Yes. My dad ran a small business for, God, Dad, when did you buy it? 1998 and finally closed down in 2018. So 20 years. And Dad was his own only employee. He apprenticed me for a while as a 2-man operation. I value small business. Pest control.
Oh, that's cool.
Because
who doesn't need pest control?
Right. So the thing is,
even if there's nothing but dragonflies, who doesn't need pest control?
Right. But I think of small businesses are your backbone of your local economy. Yeah, you can go to Walmart and buy just about anything you need there, but that money doesn't stay in Flint, and it doesn't get recirculated to the people of Flint or to whatever community you live in. So a lot of the time, if you go to, say, the farmer's market, you buy there. They take your money, obviously, and then they put that money into other things in Flint, and it helps build up the community. So do I plan on helping them? Yes, I plan on helping them with tax breaks. And for startups as well, retroactive going back 5 years. So if you started a business within the past 5 years, I want to give you a decent tax break to make sure you can keep your head above the water and the state isn't just pushing you underneath and drowning you.
Yeah.
Mentor programs, yes. I think we spoke about that on your show, Boss Man. And I think mentor programs are invaluable.
So, Kevin Tay said, "Would you, if you got to Lansing, would you take Cynthia Neely with you if you want?"
Once, I'd show her the way. That way, she knows how to get there. I'd make sure she puts it into her GPS as well. I'm sorry. I said I was done taking shots at her. I promised it. I'm sorry. Broken campaign promise already, folks.
My mom said there are some pests downtown that need to be gone. Can you help with that?
So wrong kind of pest control, but I was in the Army for no. Honestly, yes, I can. There are. So any of your government officials, whether it be city, state, county, federal, have resources to basically snitch on each other. One of those that I'd be using would be the state comptroller to start looking at our finances and auditing things here. Make sure that money's going where it needs to go. I've said before, I didn't like one of the contracts that came up, but that company still hasn't been paid for the contract, regardless of whether I like it or not. That you have men and women breaking their backs in this heat all summer, all spring, all throughout fall, and they haven't been paid. So I'd basically call the comptroller and say, "Sick 'em, boy," and see if they pull up anything. And then when they do, they can refer it to your State Bureau of Investigation to help get rid of some of these pests. I know you were joking, but that is a plan. And I want to start getting rid of some of these Chicago-style corrupt politics around here.
Winter said, will be acting like Auntie Judy when you go to Lansing, because I never know how she's going to vote." Wow.
No. I love Judy to death. She is my wife's aunt. She is family. I love her. That, however, does not mean that I agree with everything she does and the way she does some things. I want to be open and honest, and anytime something comes down the pipeline, I want to read it. I want to publish it on a website. That way everyone else can read it. And then I want to point out parts I like, parts I don't like, pros and cons of it for Flint, or if there's nothing in it, honestly, for Flint, but it still benefits Michigan without being an impairment to Flint, then why I'm voting for it and why I'm voting the way I am, whether yes or no. But you will always know why. And you will always know ahead of time. Granted, I'll have to look into the legality of that, but that is something I want to do. And even if it means just sitting down one-on-one with folks and saying, well, there's this bill, and it will put money into the state of Michigan, but take money out of Flint. I'm voting no on it because it's taking money out of Flint. Type deal.
You can't please everyone. Just be honest.
Yes. And
with everything you do.
Yes. And that's why a website. So being honest is also giving out the information I have and putting it out there. And whether you like it or not, you're still going to know why I did it.
We asked that before. We asked that a couple times, actually. We asked him that, Terrence. We asked him that on the first time he came on, and we also asked again at the forum.
All right, Mr. Terrence. I'll go ahead and answer it again. Out of all your candidates, you've got a few that don't really look at things from the scope of state. They want to look at things from the scope of the city. If that's the case, then this isn't the office for them. Right? Because this isn't an oversight for the city. This is a completely separate entity. So I am state focused. I listen to people, and whether you and I agree or not, I'm still going to give you the time of day, and I'm still open and honest about everything I do say and things I want to do. And there is no mincing words or large, huge speeches where you can't tell what the hell I'm saying. I'll say it straight up, and I'll say it just as it is. So I think that sets me apart from a few of my peers. And the last person, well, at least I'll show up.
And Terrence said, "My bad," but no worries, Terrence. I just just like I did with Karen Weaver, Dr. Karen Weaver yesterday. I'm trying not to be redundant with some of the questions. I just you get what I'm saying. I know, so because a lot of you have like different questions. I'm just not trying to be redundant, so it seems like the same interview over and over again. That's all. It was nothing to it. I didn't mean anything by it, so I hope I didn't mean by saying that. I was just trying not to ask the same questions over and over.
I mean, it
Because
is a valid question, though.
sometimes it gets a little redundant. You know what I'm saying? No. It's all good. No, it's all good. I enjoy the answer questions. I'm, I welcome it. As long as everybody's being respectful, I don't
No,
shoot
Mr.
them out.
Tay, I didn't. I'm gonna have to look into that, and if it turns out not to be on the up and up, I may have to talk with my wife about a few things.
I didn't hear about that either, so I'm not really sure what that's all about.
If you got so I'll be messaging you here in a bit with my phone number. If you want to give me the story on that, and then not saying I don't believe you, but sources behind it. That way I can get the full view, the full scope. That'd be much appreciated.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Get the full scope and full view. But yeah, I would be more than happy. And then obviously I'm going to talk to her about it, depending on what you have to say.
Terrence said, "Great answer, by the way."
Thank you.
So I kind of want to go back to your tour a little bit and
Yeah.
ask, being that we talked about the food desert and the school desert and all of that. Um, do you have a plan to talk to the school board about maybe um, building more schools, like being on the north side and throughout?
Yes.
Because
Um,
I don't understand how we expect to get people back in the city if we don't
if we
have
don't.
places for people to live
Mhm.
and schools for children to go to. Because people, they have families and they're starting families and people want to start families, but they're not going to do it here. If the crime is bad, if they don't have anywhere to live and there's nowhere to educate their children properly.
So yes. And I'm really excited about the school board elections coming up. That one I will say, go Mr. Clack, and because I can work with a lot of these folks, and I've talked online a little bit with Mr. Luna. All of our responses to each other are public. You can see it on the Flint Politics Reboot page, and a lot of what we want to see, we agree on. So I hope that a lot of these folks get in because we already agree. We don't have to sit there and come, negotiate in terms like that. It's just, all right, you and I both know we want more schools here. How do we do this? And then, okay, we need to find an area. All right, how much is that going to cost? Then we need to build the school. How much is that going to cost? How much are you going to need to hire teachers? And then so forth and so on. And that's something I really want to do. As the school board is now, though, I'm afraid I'll get punched. I know.
Trevor. Yeah. Winters asked me, where are the kids at? The kids are in Grand Blanc with your children. They are in Flushing. They are in Davidson. They are Atherton. They're everywhere, but right here in the city of Flint. They're everywhere. They live here, but they don't go to school here. So yeah, that's where they are. So that's where you can catch them at. You can catch them at Carmen. You can catch them at Westwood Heights, aka Hamity. You can catch them at Grand Blanc. You can catch them at Davidson. That's where you can catch them all at. That's where they are. That's where they're going. So unfortunately, that's where they are.
And then going on when you said crime and people moving in, if you don't mind me taking a second,
Go for it.
I want to take from state and provide direct funding to the Flint Police Department, not to the Sheriff's Department, not to Highway Patrol. And it has the caveat, because everything has to have a caveat, right? That says this is specifically for hiring new officers and equipping them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can, at the back end of that, have a clause saying, okay, we also want to have, because Flint has a rich history of neighborhood watch, been going on since the 50s, and it's died down because of COVID. It's died down because lack of police officers. I want to see a partnership program where, each neighborhood watch has an officer or two that'll rotate in and out month to month and just walk the neighborhood, get to know the folks. Because you are a lot less likely to be the absolute terror that people expect you to be when they know you and when you know them. So you see Mr. Fredericks is having a bad day. You can talk to him without throwing cuffs on him, right? And I think a lot of that will help bring down crime throughout the city, because school board's not going to want to build a school where they perceive a lot of crime, right? So you bring down crime in these areas by doing these things, having more officers, having them partner with the neighborhoods, having the officers, and you don't just throw random officer on there. I'd say peer reviews, as well as you're not really customer reviews. So you get pulled over by Officer James, and he is an absolute delight. He understands that you are speeding and you are sorry, you didn't realize. He lets you go without a ticket, but he is the absolute delight. You can go to the City of Flint Police Department and refer him for these neighborhood watch programs. And that would be something I would legislate or write legislation for, to go around the entirety of Michigan. Because Grand Rapids also has these problems. Saginaw, Lansing, Detroit, Ann Arbor. So we need to start bringing trust from our communities back to our police department and making our police departments earn it. And this is one way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a plan to work with the county?
Not really as of yet.
Have you talked to anyone from the county?
No. The few that I have tried reaching out to haven't reached out back. That's fine. A lot of people consider a Republican candidate running in this district to be a lost cause. I want to show them different. And if and when I do get elected and they start coming to me, then no hard feelings. You're just conserving time, and all right, we can sit down and talk like adults now. So do I have a plan to work with them? No, because I haven't spoke with them. I can't really start coming up with a plan without working in a partnership. Otherwise, we end up with what was it, Operation Arrowhead or whatever? Yeah, where the county didn't talk with the city, and now it's a cluster. I'd rather do everything through partnerships. That way, the left hand knows what the right hand's doing.
So, due to the redistricting, you were once in the 6th ward, you are now in the 5th ward. With that being said, have you reached out and or talked to your new council person?
No, and I'm still depressed. I love Miss Tanya, and I got to speak to her. I have not reached out to my new council person. I saw her at city council the other day, but she was busy rifling through files and papers, just going through meeting agenda, and then what the gentleman gave her for the black mold, because he came in with files and folders. He came in with proof, and I wasn't going to interrupt her while she's doing that.
That's fair. Kevin Tay had like
he asked a lot.
Yeah, he asked if he thought. I'm skipping that one, Kevin. He said, do you think the 2nd ward needs a new council person, and the 7th ward as well? He also asked, it's a 2-part question, and then he asked, have you and the 7th ward council person talked to you, and do you feel comfortable with her in the big seat?
I think I had like a 30-second conversation with her. And it was her just advised me stay out of.
Where we're talking about Allie Helpenroder, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And she advised me stay out of Flint politics in terms of the mayor. I'm like, thanks, Miss Allie, for the concern. I still hold my opinions and views about our current mayor, and I don't mind saying them out loud. He's an incumbent. He should be used to this anyway. As for the other two, I wish Mr. Councilman Mays and Dr. Weaver all the best of luck. I really like them. Then 2nd ward, I actually got to sit down and talk with her at her little get-together. And personally, I think we sat down and had a 30-minute exchange, just the two of us. And just on that first impression, I liked her. And I see you're leading your questions. You don't, but like I said, I'm not going to cater. I'm not going to BS. I liked her. Maybe more meetings with her will show something different, but from what I saw and how her and I interacted, I thought that she was a nice lady.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Miss
That's
Wintus,
fair.
I just said I won't say that. I won't say who I'm going for mayor. Just know it's not Neely.
All right. So, Trevor,
Yes, ma'am.
it's been our time. Do you have
Okay.
any closing words that you would like to say to all of the folks that are watching?
Just thanks for tuning in and asking your questions. I always enjoy coming onto here and speaking with folks. I really do. I always enjoy hearing from you guys, whether it's in Facebook comments, like me and Miss Wintus constantly go back and forth, or seeing Mr. Kevin Tay pop up. Uh, Honestly, I can't wait to see you guys until after the primaries. It's going to be great, and we can start moving forward on the general, knowing who's on the Democrat ticket. And I'm looking forward to your guys' support.
Oh, you guys want me to keep going? That hour's not enough. See, you trying to get me on here to like 3 hours, and usually that's how it goes. Unfortunately, so you guys know, I usually don't do this all during the week. However, it is crunch time, right? So I want to give everybody a chance to come on and get those last little things out. But I do get up at 3:30 in the morning. I gotta go to work tomorrow, so I can't play with y'all all night tonight. Can't play with y'all all night tonight. Unfortunately, I I do always enjoy talking to you. I always enjoy the conversations that we have on camera and off camera. Um, you know, anything that you have questions with, or I may be able to help you with, the doors are always open. You
Yep.
always can call me. I might not answer right away because I'm at work. I usually get back to you. I never leave you hanging.
Since our last conversation on here, I have called you several times ago, gone, Mr. Tar, yo, what's poppin'? What's going on? Because I was less informed than I should have been coming on, and I've really tried to correct that deficit.
Yeah. So
And it is
keep doing your
always
homework.
appreciated.
And we enjoyed that you getting out and you talking to folks and things like that. So for all of you that have more questions for Trevor, keep putting them in the chat, because Trevor he does look at this, and he'll go back and he'll expound on some things that people want. So he'll answer some other questions. So if you have more things that you want to say to him, then by all means, put it in the chat. I'm sure he will do that. As always, I love you all, and I enjoy you all, and I thank you so much for coming and rocking with me every Friday, and coming to do this with me this week, because I've been on tour this week, and let me tell you
Oh,
something.
thank God you take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. But and that's kind of why I'm trying to keep it like this, so I can make sure that I'm holding steadfast for everything. So I appreciate each and every last one of you that come on and you rock with me every week or every time I come on. I appreciate you so much. I love you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, I tell you all to take care of yourself. Make sure that you are eating healthy. You are drinking your water, not Flint water, because Flint water is not clean. It's dirty. It's no good. I don't care what they tell you. Make sure that you are doing at least 30 minutes of cardio every day. If you are one of those people that loves the sunshine, get out there and get you some vitamin D and breathe in that good prana, right? Get out there in nature, and like Brother Roberts always say, go hug a tree, sit out in the ground, out in the yard with no shoes on and ground, and just be at one with nature. Get all that stuff out of there. If you're like me and you love the water, then you go down to Stepping Stone Falls and you walk that trail, right? And then after you walk that trail, go sit by the water, feed the ducks, do all of that, and just take a load off and get all of those things off your mind. I really appreciate you all. Take care of yourself. Love on yourself. Love on yourself. Love on yourself. Love on yourself. Do everything with love and in love. Always do everything with love and in love. Love on yourself. love on yourself and take care of yourself first, because if you can't do that, you can't love on anybody else. And what is better than you? Absolutely nothing. Nothing is better than you. So make sure you do that. So thank you all. And Dad, one more virtual hug for you and everybody else that are watching. I love you all. Take care. Have a great night. Trevor, I know you wanted to talk to me, so you stay on after, but you all have a great night. I love you. See you tomorrow when I have DeJuan E. Robinson. Also, hey, y'all go check out Terrence. He's doing something tonight as well. I'm not sure of the time, but go to Jon Snow. Y'all saw him in there. Go to his page. Yeah, I'm sure it's on there. So go tune in to him as well tonight. So love you.